All right. So I'm going to just say the answers, and then if there's any that you want me to work, we'll do that. Okay? What now? Right. If it's wrong, put a slash through the number. Okay. So number 19, the answer is 8x squared minus 21x plus 10 equals 0.
What if we forget to put equal to?
Then put a slash through it, and I'll only take 1 point off. 363. All right. Number 22 is 35x squared plus 4x minus 4 equals 0. Number 26 is 49x squared minus 42x plus 205 equals 0. Anybody need to see any of those?
I got the answer, but I forgot the word.
Okay.
So you got your A equals B.
Yeah, I got A, B, and C.
Well, just then I'll only count like a point off for that. All right. 27 is 16x squared plus 16x plus 29 equals 0. Number 30 is
4/3.
6 4/3. Number 32 is 4 and negative 4. If you put plus or minus 4, that works too.
I don't understand what you're doing.
Just solve it. You solve and then you use the sum and product to check. Do you want me to do that one?
Yeah.
Because I got 16 and 0.
Okay. Let's do number 32.
I got 16 and
Okay,
0.
32. X squared minus 16 equals 0. Okay. You can factor it to be x plus 4x minus 4. So x plus 4 equals 0, so x is negative 4, or x minus 4 equals 0, so x is 4.
Oh, I did the quadratic formula.
You could do that too.
What if I
But I got 16 and 0.
You filled in the wrong things then. Okay, quadratic is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So what is a?
A
1. What's b?
C is 0.
0. What's c?
C is negative.
Negative 16.
That's why, because I put in negative 16.
No, that would be your coefficient of x, and there is none. Yes.
I got that. I don't want you to get confused because when we did the sum and then we had to do the product.
Yeah.
I checked them out to show you how to check.
Okay. 33 is 1/2 and negative 2/3. 35 is 4 plus or minus the square root of 34. You might need to see that one? Yes. Okay.
Hold up, what is the answer?
4 plus or minus the square root of 34. So we have x squared minus 8x minus 18 equals 0. So it doesn't factor because there's no factors of 18 that subtract to be 8. So you have to do the quadratic formula. X equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. Okay, so that becomes positive 8 plus or minus the square root. That's 64 plus 72 over 2. So that is 8 plus or minus the square root of 136 over 2. Now 136, that's 2 times 68. 68, that is 2 times 34. That's 2 times 17. So that is 8 plus or minus the square root of 1, 2, 3 times 17 over 2. 2 comes out. These are stuck. And you can reduce the outside numbers if all three. So all three are divisible by 2, so that becomes 4, 1, and 1. So 4 plus or minus the square root of 34 over 1. Okay? Then to check it, the sum is easy. It is 4 plus the square root of 34 plus 4 minus the square root of 34. That's 8. And negative b over a would be negative 8 over 1, which is also 8. Then the product, you're doing 4 plus the square root of 34 times 4 minus the square root of 34. You FOIL, that's 16 minus 4 root 34 plus 4 root 34 minus square root of 34 times square root of 34 is 34. Those cancel and you get negative 18. C over A is negative 18 over 1 is also negative 18. So it works. Okay? That's 35. Then 36. Is negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 5 all over 2. You might need to see that one. Okay. 39. 39a is 12x squared minus 48x plus 13 equals 0. 39b is 42x squared minus 7x plus 10 equals 0. Okay. Number 40. The answer is negative 1. Number 41. The answer is negative 6. And number 43. The answer is 88.2 meters per second. I must have plugged something in wrong then. It's 88.2. Well, we did the process right. We must have just plugged something in wrong. All right. Everybody good?
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead and turn that homework back in. Now we're on to the next section. Thanks. Yeah, let me have the pens back if you borrowed one. Thanks. Okay, so we're doing section 6.6, analyzing graphs of quadratic functions. When you graph a quadratic function, what does the graph look like? Parabola, always, okay? Now, there's two forms that you can be given a parabola in, okay? Let's say I gave you, let's just review some of the stuff from when we went over parabolas before. Okay? These two are the exact same parabola. This is vertex form, and this is standard form. Okay? They each tell us something different. Okay? What does vertex form tell us?
The vertex.
The vertex. So what is the vertex?
3, 4.
Change the sign of the end, so 3, 4. Okay? What is the axis of symmetry?
3.
The line x equals 3. Remember, you said the parentheses equal to 0 and solve. Okay? And then, which way does it open?
It opens up.
How do you know that?
Because
Because 2 is positive. Okay? So what I would do if I were you, and you were asked to graph this, is go to 3, 4, and then do 2 points to the right. So do a T-chart at 4 and at 5, because you know it's symmetric here. At 4, you've got 4 minus 3, 1. 1 squared is 1, times 2 is 2, plus 4 is 6. So at 4, it is 6, which means here it's 6, because they're symmetric. 5 minus 3 is 2, 2 squared is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 plus 4 is 12. So that, it's way up here, which means at 1, it's way up here. That would be your parabola. Okay? This one, we still know it opens up. Why? If you only knew this. I mean, these are the same, so if I graph it, it's going to look just like that. But why do we know it opens up? A is positive, okay? Also, if you'll remember, when we did polynomial equations, at the far right and the far left, all that matters is the first term. Since that's positive, it's going up to the far right, and since that's even, it agrees on the far left. So you know that it's starting and ending going up, so it points up. Okay? The only other thing you can tell on here is the y-intercept, because that's when x is 0, and it would be 22. Constant term is your y-intercept, always. Okay? So, let's say I gave you, we need to be able to go from one form to the other, okay? And this one is easy. The way we go from vertex to standard is you just multiply it out, okay? You just FOIL that, distribute it 2, add 4, and you would get this, okay? The harder part's going from here to here, and there are 2 ways to do it, and I'm going to show you both ways, okay? And I don't care which way you use it, or which way you do it. So let's look at the first one. So I want you to put into vertex form and graph. Well, instead of graph, I want you to tell vertex, axis of symmetry, and direction of opening. Yeah, because these, like, the y-intercept is negative 319, so I don't want you to graph that. Okay? Direction of opening. Okay? So to get into vertex form, the first way to do it is to complete the square. Okay? So first thing we're going to do is take the constant to the other side. Okay? Then we have to factor out a. Leave a space. Right? Okay. Then we do what's called complete the square. When you complete the square, you take half of that number, so it would be x minus 8 squared, right? Then you square that plus 64. Now, typically we would add 64 to both sides, but what did we really do? We subtracted 5 times 64, which is 320. So we're going to subtract 320, which gives us now just f of x minus 1 equals that. Right? Then if we add that back, we can answer the 3 questions. What is the vertex? Change the sign of that, so 8, 1. What's the axis of symmetry? X equals 8, the vertical line x equals 8. And what's the direction of opening?
Down.
Down. Okay. So what I would do, if you were going to graph this, since you know 8, 1 is the vertex, I would do a T-chart for 9 and 10 and get those 2 points reflected on the axis of symmetry. Okay? Well, let me show you another way to do this. Exact same problem. Okay? When it's in standard form, this is a formula you haven't had yet. When in standard form, the axis of symmetry occurs at x equals the opposite of b over 2a. So, what would that be here? So it would be x equals the opposite of b, so negative 80 over 2 times a. That's negative 80 over negative 10, which is 8. So the axis of symmetry is x equals 8. All right? Then the way you could figure out the vertex is, you know the vertex is on the line x equals 8, right? You could plug it in here to see what y is. So just do f of 8. And that's negative 5 times 8 squared plus 80 times 8 minus 319. And that is negative 320 plus 640 minus 319, which gives you 1. So the vertex is 8, 1. And we know it opens down. Right? So from that, you could either graph it or you could write the vertex form. Vertex form is f of x equals a times x minus 8 squared plus 1. So you can get that without completing the square. Make sense? Okay. Let's do...
Is that both ways?
Yeah, that's both ways. One is completing the square. The other one is x equals the opposite of b over 2a is the axis of symmetry, and then you plug that in to get the y coordinate. Okay? So what if I gave you this? Okay? I want to know the vertex, the axis of symmetry, and the direction of opening. Now we can do it two ways. We can complete the square, or we can do the opposite of b over 2a. All right? I'll do it both ways to show you. I really don't care. Okay? If you're going to complete the square, you need to take the 36 over. Then what? Factor out of 4. Half of 6 is 3, squared is 9, but we really added 36, right? So we add 36 over here, which just gives us f of x equals 4 times x plus 3 squared. So what is the vertex?
3,
Right, negative 3, 0. Change the sign of inside, keep the sign of outside. Okay, what is the axis of symmetry?
3, negative 3.
X equals negative 3. You got to give me the equation of the line. Negative 3 is just a number. Okay, and then direction of opening. Opens up because 4 is positive. Okay, the other way is to just start out with the axis of symmetry is x equals the opposite of b over 2a. So that is negative 24 over 2 times 4, which is negative 24 over 8, which is x equals negative 3. Then to figure out the vertex, you plug in negative 3. When you do that, you get 0. So the vertex is negative 3, 0. 4 is positive, so it opens up. And you could even use this information to write it in vertex form, which would have been here. Okay? So I don't care which way you do it. As long as you get the right answer. So, no. Okay, so what if I said, what is the equation of the graphed parabola? Okay, so what do we know about this from the graph? It opens down, so A is negative. We know the vertex is negative 2, 5, right? So in vertex form, f of x is A we don't know, except that it's negative. X plus 2 squared plus 5. Right? And you can do that if you have the vertex, which we do. Okay, and that also gives us x equals negative 2 as the axis of symmetry, which is good. We just need to figure out A. Well, to figure out A, you just need to know one other point. Okay, so when x is 1, y is 2, right? So y is 2 when x is 1. So that is 2 equals A times 3 squared, which is 9, plus 5, right? So 2 is 9A plus 5. If we subtract 5, we've got negative 3 is 9A. And divide both sides by 9, A is negative 1/3. So your equation is A x plus 2 squared plus 5. Make sense? Okay. Now, what if I don't give you the vertex? That's the hardest it can get. So what if I said, find the equation of the parabola that passes through (0, -3, 1, 4, and 2, 15. Okay. Well, and I didn't say it could be in vertex form or it could be in standard form. Okay. If it's in vertex form, you got to figure out H, K, and A. If it's in standard form, you got to figure out A, B, and C. Oh, sorry, 215. Okay, so let's look at standard form. So that is ax squared plus bx plus c. So let's plug in the first point. F of 0 has to equal -3, right? Mm-hmm. So that is a times 0 squared plus b times 0 plus c has to equal -3. What does that tell us? C is -3. Because that's also the y-intercept, and we know the constant term is the y-intercept. So now we're down to, we know it's f of x equals ax squared plus bx minus 3. Right? Now let's plug in the next one. When x is 1, y has got to be 4. So f of 1 is a times 1 squared plus b times 1 minus 3 has to equal 4. Well, that says a plus b minus 3 equals 4, which means a plus b equals 7, right? But we can't figure out what a and what b is, but we know that when you add them, you get 7. So then go to the other point. When x is 2, y has to be 15. So f of 2, which is a times 2 squared, plus b times 2 minus 3 has to equal 15. So that is 4a plus 2b minus 3 equals 15, which means 4a plus 2b equals 18. And I would divide everything by 2. 2a plus b equals 9. Okay? Now you have a system of two equations that we learned 50 million ways to solve it. Okay? You can solve by graphing, you can solve by substitution, you can solve by elimination, you can use Cramer's rule, you can use inverse matrices, so anything you want. The easiest for me is elimination here because you've got a plus b equals 7, right? And if you do a negative times this, you've got negative 2a minus b equals negative 9. You add those, and negative a equals negative 2, so a is 2, right? Then go here. 2 plus b has to equal 7, so b is 5. So your equation is f of x is ax squared plus bx plus c. Make sense? Now let's see if that made sense with the graph if we were to graph these 3 points.
When they do problems like this, we have to give you points. Will they ever do like on the graph, or is it just
Yeah.
They always give us the y-intercept.
No. Okay. So let's do one that they don't. Okay. So yeah, what I was going to say here is if you graph these 3 points before we go on to the next one, let's do that. Okay, so we had 0, negative 3. We had 1, 4. And we had 2, 15. Okay, well, plotting those, you can see that it has to be like that. Okay, so you could check, it opens up because A was positive, right? Y-intercept is negative 3. And you could figure out what the vertex is from that and check that as well. Okay? All right, let's do one where you don't know the y-intercept. That's as hard as it can get. So what if I want it to pass through a parabola that passes through 9, negative 3, 6, 3, and 4, 27. Okay, we don't know the vertex and we don't know the y-intercept. So what you're just going to have is so the first one, f of 9, which is a times 9 squared plus b times 9 plus c has to equal negative 3, right? So that's 81a plus 9b plus c equals negative 3. That's our first equation. Yep. The next one, f of 6, which is a times 6 squared plus b times 6 plus c has to equal 3. So that's 36a plus 6b plus c equals 3. That's our second equation. And the last one, f of 4, has to be 27. So that is a times 4 squared plus b times 4 plus c equals 27, which gives us 16a plus 4b plus c equals 27. There's your third equation. Right? So now we have to remember back how to solve a system of 3. Let me write the equations. So we've got 81a plus 9b plus c equals negative 3 Then we have 36a plus 6b plus c equals 3. And we have 16a plus 4b plus c equals 27. Okay? If you remember, you just copy the first one the way it is. Anybody remember what we do next?
Is it take the third one?
You take the first two and eliminate a.
Oh, the first two.
Okay, so common denominator would be well, what I would just do is 81 times 36. I mean, it's not the lowest, but it is a denominator, right? So if we multiply the top one times 36, we're going to get 2,916a plus 36 times 9 is 144b plus 36c equals 36 times 3 is negative 108. Okay? If we multiply the second one by negative 81, we're going to get negative 2916a minus 486b minus 81c equals 81 times 3 is minus 243. Okay? If you add those, your A is eliminated, which is what you wanted. Okay? Then for your B, 144 minus 486, we get negative 342B minus 36 minus 81, 45C equals negative 352, or 51. Okay? Now 9 goes into all those. Okay, so if you divide 342 by 9, you get 38b minus 5c equals 39, negative 39. Okay, so that's your next equation. Then what do we do? Use first and third to eliminate A. Okay? So first and third to eliminate A. So what I would do, we've got 81A plus 9B plus C equals negative 3, and 16A plus 4B plus C equals 27. I would just do 81 times 16. Okay? So the top one we're going to multiply by 16. The bottom we're going to multiply by negative 81. So if we multiply this by 16, we get 1296A plus 144B plus 16C equals negative 48, right? Then if we multiply this by negative 81, we're going to get negative 1296A minus 4 times 81, which is 324B minus 81C equals negative 2187. Okay, if you add those, you get negative 180B minus 65C equals negative 2235. Okay? Now 5 goes into all those. and we get negative 32b minus 13c equals negative 447. So that is your new third equation. Okay, then what is the last step? Use these two to eliminate b. Okay, so we're down to okay, so we need to use those last two to eliminate b. What I would do is multiply the top one by 32, the bottom one by 38. Okay, so the top one, and let's do negative 32 so that the top's positive. Okay, so 38 times 32 is 1216b plus 32 times 5, 160c equals 39 times 32, 1248. Then multiply this by 38. You're going to get negative 1216b minus 13 times 38, 494c equals 447 times 38, negative 16,986. Okay, if you add those, b's are gone. We're almost there. That becomes 160 minus 494. I would not make y'all do this without a calculator. 334c equals 1248 minus 16986, negative 15738. We divide both sides by negative 334. Please, God, let this work out. And it didn't.
Okay, next question. We got it.
Okay, we missed the arithmetic somewhere.
Maybe because it's such a long problem.
Yeah, I don't know.
It looked all right. We did the right
Yeah.
steps.
I know.
Could you eliminate C at first?
Yes. And that may have been easier to do, to eliminate C in all of them. But we did the right methodology. We just missed some arithmetic somewhere. But once you got that, you would have plugged that back into one that has B and C in it. You would have figured out B. Once you knew that, you could plug them both back into one with all three and get A. Okay? I'm sorry. That's frustrating. Okay. All right, so let me give you the homework.
Oh, that's it. Wow. Well,
That's
this is
it.
Chapter 6, so
Yes.
have to keep
We
that in
went
mind.
through a literal brainstorm with the last chapter.
Okay, it's page 373. 19, 24, 25, 28, 29, 31, 32, 33, 37, 41, 45, 50, 51. All right.